Hello and welcome back to Master of the Fallen Fortress, a Pathfinder first edition module that we are playing and that we are slowly closing out, I think. Maybe even today. We'll see how that goes. I hope everyone of you is fine and you are eager to know how we continue. So let's get to the game, I guess.
Please, are you real? Or another nightmare?
His gaze flicks between your faces, searching for some sign that you're not more troglodyte tormentors come to beat him again. Before anyone can respond, Mauriciel's already moving. The elf rogue slips past you into the cell, her curiosity overriding her usual caution, despite the nauseating stench still affecting her. She is kneeling beside him to examine the manacles. Her fingers trace the heavy iron, looking for a keyhole.
These look like they need a key. Did we find—
Wait. We should make sure he's not badly hurt first.
He survived days with those creatures. Either he's useful to them alive, or they're saving him for something. Back in Irison, prisoners kept this long were always meant for the winter sacrifices.
You unsling your pack, the weight of your equipment shifting on your shoulders as you kneel beside the prisoner. The lingering stench from the troglodyte's corpse makes your stomach churn, but you push through the discomfort. From your supplies, you pull out a wrapped ration and one of your water skins. His eyes widen, disbelief flickering across his bruised face. For a moment, he doesn't move, as if afraid this kindness might vanish like a cruel dream. Then his shaking hands reach out, manacles clinking, and accept the food with trembling fingers.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
He tears into the ration with desperate hunger, pausing only to drink deeply from the water skin. Water spills down his chin. He doesn't care. After a moment, he forces himself to slow down, taking more measured bites.
I'm sorry, They gave me scraps. Just enough to keep me alive for whatever their chieftain was planning.
Let me see your injuries. You're dehydrated and battered, but nothing's broken. You're fortunate.
Fortunate? No, yes. You're right. I'm alive. And you're here. I thought I was going to die in this cell.
These should fit your manacles. Should we— Though, maybe you should tell us who you are first. And what you're doing in a troglodyte prison.
Reasonable question. For all we know, they locked you up for good reason.
Fair enough. My name is Balinar Forsend. I'm a member of the Pathfinder Society, an organization of explorers and scholars. When the earthquake opened this fortress, I came to investigate its secrets. I wasn't expecting it to already have new tenants. The troglodytes ambushed me on the stairwell a few days ago.
You glance at the equipment laid out in Tulok's chest. The masterwork rapier, the studded leather armor, and particularly the Wayfinder with its distinctive compass design. The Pathfinder Society is known throughout Absalom, and their signature magical compasses are not easily counterfeited.
The Wayfinder and the rest of the equipment hint that you're telling the truth. I'll trust you for now. Mauriciel, open his manacles.
Mauriciel mutters, though there's relief in her voice. She selects the smaller key from Tulok's ring and kneels beside Balinar. Her nimble fingers work the lock mechanism with practiced ease. The first manacle springs open, and Balinar gasps, immediately pulling his wrist close to cradle it. The skin beneath is raw and bloody. Mauriciel quickly unlocks the second one, and the heavy iron shackles fall to the stone floor with a dull clang.
Thank you, all of you. I'd make my peace with dying here, though I'd hoped it would be quick, not Not whatever Taskar was planning.
Taskar?
Their chieftain. A troglodyte druid. Heretic by their own kind standards. He calls this place his fortress, has grand delusions about leading the troglodyte race to conquer the surface world. Utter madness, but he's convinced his followers. I overheard him talking about sacrificing me to their dark god, some sort of ritual to bless his conquest.
A druid with religious delusions. Dangerous combination. How many of them are there?
I'm not certain. They didn't exactly give me a tour, but from what I could hear, Taskar has perhaps 6 or 7 troglodytes under his command, plus that brute Tulok you must have dealt with. And there are other creatures. Pets, slaves, I'm not sure. I heard something large moving on the upper floors. Is my equipment...
In the iron chest. All of it.
My wayfinder. The Society would never forgive me if I lost it. May I... Though perhaps I should clean these wounds first.
Sit. Let me work.
Tell me what you know of this Taskar. We found a stairway leading even higher, but a troglodyte fled that way, so whatever lies above has been warned. Do you know if that level is the highest point in these caverns?
Taskar claims the highest level of the tower, the 5th floor, at the very top. It's completely open to the sky through archways on all sides. He often stands up there, gazing at Absalom in the distance, dreaming of his conquest. I saw him when they first dragged me up the stairs. He was different from the others. He's not just a warrior, he's a druid. Commands nature magic, can summon creatures to fight for him. I saw him call forth a swarm of spiders just to clear rats from one of the chambers. And he has an animal companion, an albino crocodile. Stunted thing, adapted to life underground, but still dangerous. He calls it Snapjaw.
A druid and his animal companion at the top of a tower. That's a difficult fight.
Very. And if a troglodyte fled upward to warn him, then Taskar knows you're coming. He'll be prepared. Possibly set an ambush or positioned himself advantageously. How many troglodytes have you encountered so far?
Several. Wild dogs outside, a giant spider in the base, troglodytes on the 3rd floor, one that escaped up the stairs during that fight, and now Tulok here on the 4th.
That wounded one would have reached Taskar by now. Plenty of time to prepare. I'm weak from days of captivity, but if you'll return my equipment... I'm a bard, not a frontline fighter, but I can support you. My magic, my performance, they can turn the tide of battle. And frankly, I owe you my life.
You can barely stand.
I can barely sit still knowing that monster is still up there, but you're right. I need a moment to recover.
The floor's clear. We dealt with the troglodytes in the barracks, even took down a giant frog. The sickness has passed. Balanar, how can you aid us? Wait, did you just say spider swarms?
Yes, the barracks were his guards' quarters, and the frog, Taskar kept it as a pet in that flooded chamber. You've been busy.
Then his expression grows serious at your question about spider swarms.
Yes, spider swarms. Taskar can summon them with his druidic magic. Hundreds of tiny spiders that swarm over everything, biting and poisoning. They're nearly impossible to fight with normal weapons. But there are ways to deal with them. Fire, mainly. Area attacks.
You're a bard. What exactly can you do?
I can inspire courage in battle. My performances bolster your attacks and defenses. I can cast spells, healing magic, sleep to incapacitate enemies, confusion to disrupt their tactics.
I can also cast Expeditious Retreat to help someone move faster if we need to reposition. With my rapier, I'm decent in a fight, though I'm better at supporting from behind the lines. More importantly, I know what we're facing up there. Taskar will summon creatures. Spider swarms, giant centipedes, whatever his magic can call forth. He'll use fire magic too. He has Produce Flame, possibly Flame Blade for melee, and Snapjaw, his crocodile, is vicious in close combat.
This sounds worse the more you describe it.
It is. He's a formidable opponent, but he's also arrogant, believes his dark god has chosen him for greatness. That makes him predictable, overconfident. And you've already fought through his guards, killed his Lieutenant Tulok, and freed his prisoner. You're clearly capable.
We're also exhausted. 3 consecutive fights without rest. I have no spells left. Israfiel is wounded. We need to decide. Push forward while we still have momentum, or retreat and rest first.
If you retreat to rest, Taskar will have even more time to prepare. But if you go up now, you're not at full strength.
What can you do against the spider swarms? Can your magical songs drive them off? Or are we on our own against that?
Honestly, not much. My rapier is useless. Swarms are immune to normal weapon damage. They're too dispersed for individual strikes to matter. What I can do is inspire courage. My bardic performance gives everyone within 30 feet a bonus to attack rolls and damage, which helps if you have area attacks. Fire, especially. Alchemist's fire, burning oil, torches used as weapons against the swarm. Your touch of flame ability. That's fire damage. That would hurt them. The real problem with swarms is that they get everywhere, occupy the same space as you, thousands of tiny bites. Poison. The best defense is to not let Taskar finish the summoning, or to clear the swarm quickly with fire before it can spread. I can also cast Cure Light Wounds if people are injured by the poison or bites, but I can't kill the swarm itself.
We have torches. Multiple torches. If we light them before engaging Taskar, we could use them as improvised weapons against a swarm.
That would work. A lit torch does fire damage. Swing it through the swarm space. Do you have any alchemist's fire? Flasks of oil? Anything that burns?
We used what we had in earlier fights.
Then here's the tactical situation. If Taskar summons a spider swarm, you need fire. Lit torches, Alahazra's flame touch, anything that burns. I'll inspire courage to boost your effectiveness. Focus fire on the swarm first before it can engulf anyone. Swarms are dangerous, but they're also fragile to the right tools. The trick is not panicking when hundreds of spiders are crawling over you. That's where my bardic performance helps. Keeps your morale up, your heads clear. There's also the crocodile, Snapjaw, and Taskar himself with his flame magic and scimitar. It won't just be the swarm. It'll be everything at once.
We should prepare torches before we go up. Have them ready to light.
Flame touch doesn't work against swarms.
Wait, no. I'm wrong about the touch of flame. That's a single target touch attack, not an area effect. Swarms don't care about single hits. You need to hit the entire swarm at once. Days in that cell have made me sloppy. Against a spider swarm, here's what actually works. Torches, yes. When you attack a swarm with a lit torch, it deals fire damage to the whole swarm occupying that space. Alchemist's fire if you had any, but you don't. Splash weapons. Or area effect spells, which I don't have many of. My sleep spell only affects living creatures with low hit dice. It won't work on a swarm of mindless vermin.
So our only real option is torches?
Torches, and avoiding the swarm if possible. If Taskar starts casting Summon Swarm, that's your window. Disrupt his casting, force him to defend himself, anything to break his concentration. Once the swarm appears, it lasts for several rounds, and you're stuck fighting it with fire.
Then we kill him before he finishes casting.
Easier said than done with a crocodile defending him. But yes, that's the ideal strategy. Fast, aggressive. Don't give him time to summon reinforcements. Our role as the tank becomes crucial. Keep Snapjaw occupied while the others focus Taskar. If the druid falls, his summoned creatures vanish.
This keeps sounding worse.
It is. But you've made it this far. And with me supporting you, our odds improve significantly.
We have more, though. Merisiel, have you forgotten your oil for the lantern?
Oh, the oil! I have 5 pints of oil for my lantern. We could use these.
Yes, oil flasks work as splash weapons. Throw one at the swarm's space, then hit it with a torch or any fire source. It ignites and burns for 2 rounds. That's actual area damage that will hurt a swarm. 5 pints means 5 potential fire attacks. That's significant.
So the strategy would be, if Taskar summons a spider swarm, Merisiel throws oil at it, someone else ignites it with a torch?
Exactly. Or you could throw the oil first, then throw a lit torch at the same space. The torch ignites the oil on impact. Either way, you're creating a burning area that damages the entire swarm. That changes the tactical picture considerably. With 5 flasks of oil and multiple torches, you have real options against summoned swarms.
Good thinking. The lantern oil. Practical.
I mean, I was planning to use it for light, but burning spider swarms sounds more important right now.
Though there's still Snapjaw the crocodile to deal with. And any other troglodytes that might be up there.
I'll hold the front line. None shall pass my warhammer. But if he unleashes those swarms, I can't handle them alone. Alahazra, use one of your healing scrolls on me so I'm ready to endure the fight. Who will take up a burning torch? We should be prepared from the start.
The scrolls are harder to replace than spell slots. I still have 2 first-level spells remaining. I will cast Cure Light Wounds on you instead and save the scrolls for a true emergency.
Alahazra nods and steps forward, her hand beginning to glow with warm, golden, divine light. She places it on your shoulder, and you feel the healing energy flow through you, knitting torn muscle and easing the lingering ache from earlier battles. The warmth spreads through your body. Your wounds close, strength returning.
Who should wield a burning torch? I think we should be prepared from the start. Have them lit and ready before we engage Taskar.
Carrying a lit torch means giving up a weapon hand. You need your warhammer and shield. I'm holding the sunrod. Merisiel needs her hands free to throw oil flasks.
I could carry a torch instead of my quarterstaff, but then I lose my melee weapon. Though against a swarm, the torch is more useful than the staff anyway.
I can hold a torch. My rapier is one-handed, and as a bard I fight best from the 2nd rank anyway, supporting rather than leading the charge. Give me a lit torch in my offhand, and if a swarm appears I can engage it while still inspiring courage. Though I should mention, I can cast Expeditious Retreat on someone if we need them to move faster, and I have Cure Light Wounds for healing. But performing and casting both require free hands, so I'd need to drop the torch temporarily for those.
So Balinar holds one torch. But Alahazra's right. If a swarm appears, you want multiple fire sources. We could have 2 or even 3 people carrying lit torches when we go upstairs.
The problem is that lit torches burn down. They last an hour each, but we'd be lighting them before combat even starts. That's wasted time.
Wait, what if we carry unlit torches in easy reach and only light them when Taskar starts casting? Feya's sunrod provides light. We can use it to light torches quickly once combat starts.
Marisil, we've been over this. Sunrods give light, not fire. They won't set anything ablaze. Light the torch just before we move up. I doubt this fight will last more than an hour. And Marisil, keep that flask of oil ready in your offhand. Those swarms, they worry me.
Marisil freezes, then smacks her forehead. She looks embarrassed.
Right. Gods, I'm an idiot. Sunrods are light, not fire. They're cold light. You can't ignite anything with them. Sorry. The stress of thinking about spider swarms is making me stupid.
It's fine, Alahazra. You could use the torch instead of the quarterstaff. I think if anything can be hurt by melee attacks, you can always use your touch of flame ability. Luckily, we conserved that.
I'll keep this oil accessible. If he starts summoning spiders, I throw oil, someone lights it, preferably Alahazra with her torch, and we burn them before they can spread. 5 flasks means 5 chances to deal with whatever he summons.
You work well together. Coordinated tactics will be crucial up there. Though I should mention, we need to decide how to light that first torch. Sunrods won't work. Do any of you have flint and steel? Or should I use one of my spell slots to cast light on something, then... Actually, no. Light doesn't produce heat either. Same problem.
Tulok had a brazier in his chamber. Still has some coals. We could light the torch from that before heading upstairs.
Good. We'll use the brazier.
There's also that unexplored eastern door from the barracks you mentioned earlier. You said you wanted to clear the floor completely before moving up?
Marisil had a peek in that room earlier. Just a storeroom with food for the frog. Nothing to worry about.
Barrels of rotten fish and dead rats. The smell was almost as bad as the troglodytes. Definitely not worth a full search.
Belinar makes his way carefully into the adjacent room, the nauseating stench of the dead troglodyte still lingering in the air. He kneels beside the open chest and begins pulling out his gear with reverent care. First, the Wayfinder. He holds the magical compass close, examining it for damage, then clips it to his belt with a satisfied sigh.
Thank the gods. Losing this would have ended my career with the Society.
Next comes the masterwork-studded leather armor. He strips off his torn, filthy shirt and begins strapping on the armor with practiced efficiency. The leather creaks softly as he adjusts the buckles, his movements growing more confident as familiar equipment settles into place. The masterwork buckler goes on his left arm, the rapier at his hip. He tests the blade's draw, smooth, perfect. He slings the short bow and quiver across his back, checks the scroll cases, and tucks them into his belt. The climber's kit he examines briefly before setting it aside. Finally equipped, Balinar stands and rolls his shoulders, testing his mobility. The transformation is striking. From beaten prisoner to capable adventurer. He's still pale, still weakened from days of captivity, but there's steel in his eyes now.
Much better. I feel almost human again. I owe you my life. When we face Taskar, I'll do everything I can to ensure we all walk out of here alive.
Alahazra picks up an unlit torch from your supplies.
Then let's prepare. We light this from Tulok's brazier. I carry it ready. Marisil has her oil flask. Israfiel holds the line with his warhammer. Balinar, you support from the second rank with inspiration and spells. Feya uses hexes and conserves her position. Daji flees to safety, as always.
Use one of those scrolls on Balinar. We need him at better strength. And I think you should conserve your final spell slot for the fight ahead.
You're right. 1 Cure Light Wound scroll on Balinar, and I'll save my last spell slot.
I appreciate this. Every hit point matters when facing a druid and his crocodile.
Alahazra reads the divine script aloud, the words of power flowing from the scroll as golden healing light envelops Balinar. He gasps as the magic takes hold, color returning to his pale face, his posture straightening as wounds knit and strength flows back into his limbs. Balinar rolls his shoulders, testing his restored strength, and his eyes shine with renewed determination.
That's remarkable. I feel like myself again. Thank you. All of you. Now I can actually contribute to this fight, instead of being a liability.
Good. We'll need everyone at full strength against what's waiting up there.
So, we're really doing this? Going straight up to face the boss?
We are. Alahazra, grab that unlit torch. We'll light it from Tulok's brazier before we head upstairs. Everyone else, check your gear. Once we start climbing those stairs, there's no turning back. This is the time, my friends. We are going up now.
Your words galvanized the group into final preparations. Alahazra picks up an unlit torch and leads the way back into Tulok's chamber, where the brazier still glows with dying coals. She thrusts the torch into the embers, and after a moment, flames catch and spread along the oil-soaked wrappings. Warm firelight dances across her face. Now she is holding a burning torch high. Mariciel checks her oil flasks one more time, making sure they're secure but accessible. Despite her nervousness, there's resolve in her eyes.
5 flasks. Don't let me waste them.
Feya adjusts Daji on her shoulder, the little fox chittering softly. Feya raises her sunrod, its cold light mingling with Alahazra's torch.
Let's end this.
I've been part of the Pathfinder Society for 3 years. I've explored ruins across Galarian, faced horrors in Forgotten Crypts, survived things that would break lesser adventurers. But I've never met anyone who impressed me as much as you all have today. You cleared this fortress, saved my life, and now you're marching to face a druid and his beast without hesitation. It would be my honor to stand with you.
Then let's finish what we started.
The staircase ends at a stone landing. Before you, an archway opens onto the tower's 5th floor. Beyond it, you can see daylight, real sunlight, not the artificial glow of your light sources. The sky beyond is pale blue with wisps of clouds. You pause at the threshold, listening. The wind whistles through the open archways. Something moves in the chamber ahead. The scrape of claws on stone. The rustle of scaled hide.
Taskar claims the entire top floor. Once we step through, he'll see us.
You exchange glances with Alahazra. She nods, torch held ready. Mariciel grips her oil flask. Feya's expression is cold and focused. You step forward. The 5th floor opens before you, a vast cross-shaped chamber formed where the tower's 4 wings meet. Decayed remnants of once grand carpet run from doorways at each wing's end, converging in the center where the spiral staircase descends into darkness. Arched ceilings rise 20 feet overhead. Open archways on the eastern and western sides let in streams of afternoon sunlight, painting the ancient stones gold and amber. And there, standing at the eastern archway, with his back to you, is Taskar. The troglodyte chieftain is larger than the others you've faced, taller, more powerfully built, his scaled hide bearing ritualistic scars. A masterwork scimitar hangs at his belt, and his clawed hands rest on the stone railing as he gazes out at Absalom in the distance, the great city gleaming on the horizon. Beside him crouches something that makes your blood run cold. A pale, eyeless crocodile the size of a large dog, its albino scales seeming to glow in the sunlight. Its jaws part slightly, revealing rows of needle-sharp teeth. It smells you before Taskar does, its head swiveling in your direction with predatory focus. The crocodile hisses. Taskar turns. His yellow eyes widen, first in surprise, then in fury. His voice is a guttural roar that echoes across the chamber.
Intruders! You dare enter my fortress? You dare kill my warriors? Snapjaw! Kill them!
He yanks the scimitar from his belt, the blade catching the light. Dark energy crackles around his free hand, druidic magic gathering. The albino crocodile's hiss becomes a shriek of hunger.
And so this battle begins. Initiative means Marisol is going to start, but Taskar right up behind. Israfiel somewhere in the middle, and the wounded troglodyte, that is this one here. He is last. So, Marisol's turn. So the nearest enemy is the wounded troglodyte. Marisol's eyes start between the enemies. The wounded troglodyte is closest, but Taskar is clearly the leader. Fire's warning about his summoning magic echoes in her mind. She advances 20 feet east toward the enemies, moving to N13. Okay, with that she moves ahead of Israfiel. Marisol here. Good. She hurls her javelin at the wounded troglodyte. It's already hurt. Maybe she can take it down fast. Okay, that's a miss. That's a miss. And now it's Taskar's turn. The troglodyte, through its yellow eyes, blazes fury as he raises his clawed hand skyward, his voice rising in a guttural chant that sends chills down your spines. Dark energy swirls around his fingers as he completes the incantation. He's summoning something, Fire shouts from the rear. Don't let it! But it's too late. The air in the center of the chamber, directly in your path, shimmers and darkens. Then it comes to sound, a horrific skittering, like 1,000 tiny legs scratching against stone. A writhing mass of spiders materializes. It is a little bit hard to see on the map, but it's right here. Below the rubble. It's carpeting the floor in a seething tide of black bodies and glistening fangs. The spider swarm spreads across the stones, an undulated blanket of arachnids that blocks your advance towards the eastern wing. Taskar grins, revealing yellow teeth.
Surface dwellers, you will feed my god's children.
Now it's Alejandro's turn. She has a lit torch. Alejandro sees the spider swarm just 15 feet away, blocking the path to Taskar. Her loyal nature demands that she protect the party, and fire is the answer to swarms. She advances towards the spider swarm. Okay, she advances towards the spider swarm. She swings her lit torch through the swarm's space and deals 1 fire damage. The flames sweep through the mass of spider. Thousands of tiny bodies ignite and curl, but it's barely a scratch against the sheer mass of the swarm. Next up is Balinar. Balinar assesses the battlefield quickly, professional instinct from years of adventuring. The spider swarm blocks the direct path, but Alahazra is engaging it with fire. Time to do what he does best, inspire his allies. He draws his rapier smoothly. He advances 20 feet to M11. So he advances to here. Right next to the spider swarm. I don't know why, but that's what he does. Where he can see his allies and support them. He begins his bardic performance. His voice rises clear and strong, cutting through the chaos of battle. Not a song, but a rousing speech that stirs courage in his companion's heart. Stand firm, you've conquered this fortress floor by floor. These creatures are nothing compared to what you've already overcome. Strike true, strike hard, victory is within reach. His words carry supernatural power, the magic of his performance washing over the party. So, the next is my turn. Spider swarm, I cannot do anything against it. First things first, let's do a knowledge check. Engineering on the floor in the east wing. I studied the floor in the eastern wing carefully, drawing on my experience exploring underground fortresses and ancient structures. The stone floor appears solid, typical ancient construction weathered by centuries, but fundamentally sound. Nothing about it seems unusual or trapped. However, you do notice something tactical relevant. The eastern wing is clearly Duska's claimed territory. The decayed carpet remnants lead to that throne-like chair visible near the eastern archway. If you advance into that area, you'll be fighting on terrain he's intimately familiar with, and the open archways behind him provide excellent escape routes if the battle turns against him. The floor itself is safe to move across, no hidden bits or structural weaknesses that you can detect. I'm not so sure about that. So, I am just moving forward a little bit in front of Marisiel. Your warhammer gripped firmly and shield raised. Your boots echo on the ancient stone as you move 10 feet east from M13 to O13. Advancing towards the eastern wing. From this position you are now closer to the enemies. The wounded troglodyte is about 30 feet away, Snapped Jaw is 35 feet away, and Duska is about 40 feet away. The spider swarm is behind me. So, what can I do? I could throw an axe, but I think the better way is I am readying an attack. If anything comes to melee range, I will attack with my warhammer. Let them come. I'll be ready. Next is Snapshot. The albino crocodile's milky eyes fix on the nearest target. That's me. Its powerful legs propel it forward with terrifying speed as it charges across the stone floor. It moves 30 feet. And that means it's right next to me. Right next to me. And that means my ready action triggers. As the crocodile launches into range, I am already swinging with a nice little attack. 21. No. With good damage as well. 9 damage. The beast staggers but keeps coming, blood seeping from the wound. Snapjaw attacks me but misses. My shield came up just in time. Crocodile is scraping against the steel with its screech. Its jaws snap shut on empty air as it deflects the attack. We got him wounded at least, so not too bad. 2 wounded enemies, Tuskar still at full health, and the spider swarm almost full health. So now it's Faya's turn. Faya surveys the battlefield with cold calculation. Israfiel is locked in combat with the crocodile. Alahazra is keeping the spider swarm at bay, and that wounded crocodile is still standing. A liability they can't afford. Dachi, hold tight, she mutters to her familiar. The little fox claws stick into her shoulder. She advances 20 feet northeast. That would be here. That would be here. And we can zoom in a little bit more here. There are the spiders, by the way. Okay. Holding her sunrod high, the light shifts with her movement, casting new shadows across the chamber. She fixes her gaze on the wounded crocodile at Q14 and begins her hacks. Her voice drops the sinister whisper, ancient words of power carry supernatural malice. Dark energy flows from her outstretched hand towards the creature. And the wounded troglodyte eyes suddenly grow heavy. It sways on its feet, struggling to stay conscious as Faya's magic assaulted its mind, and it failed. It slumps to the ground unconscious, its chest rising and falling with deep, magically induced sleep. One down, Faya says flatly. Back in Urison, we'd have slit its throat while it slept, but I suppose we're civilized here. So, next is the wounded crocodile's turn. It's sleeping. So, then comes the swarm. Writhing mass of spiders surges forward, blowing across the stone like a living carpet. And does 4 damage to Alahazra. But she succeeds against the poison, but is now only at 4 HP. And the spider swarm moves up here. Yeah. Maritel sees Alahazra engulfed by the spider swarm. Just 10 feet away to her west. The oracle is covered in spiders, clearly hurt, but Israfiel is locked in melee with the crocodile, and Taska still stands ready to cast more spells. She makes a quick decision. Oil. She shifts 5 feet southwest to M13. 5 feet here. Yeah. She holds an oil flask at the spider swarm, occupying Alahazra's space at L12. Hit. The clay flask shatters against the stone, oil splashing across the writhing mass of spiders and coating Alahazra's boots. The liquid spreads through the swarm. Nice. Now it's Tuskar's turn. The crocodile druid's eyes narrow as he watches the oil splash across his summoned swarm. His clawed hand begins to glow with flickering orange light as he chants again, fire dancing between his fingers. Flames coalesce in his palm, forming a small sphere of fire that he can hurl. Without hesitation, he whips his arm forward, sending a bolt of flame streaking across the chamber towards Balinar, the one inspiring courage in his enemies. And he hits 5 fire damage. He staggers backward with a cry of pain, smoke rising from the scorched leather armor. Keep singing, surface fool, Duskar roars mockingly. Your voice will die with you. Next is Alahazra's turn. Alejandra felt the spiders crawling over her, biting their tiny legs everywhere, but Mariciel's oil splash gives her an opportunity. She just needs fire, and she's holding a little torch. She swings her torch down into the oil-soaked swarm at her feet. And hits. The torch touches the oil and it erupts in flames with a whoosh. Fire spreads through the swarm, engulfing the mass of spiders and Alahadra's legs. Hundreds of spiders shriek and curl as they burn, their bodies blackening and falling away. Alahadra grimaces at the heat, licks at her boots, but holds steady. The spider swarm takes 7 fire damage total, 1 from the torch and 6 from the ignited oil because of plus 50% damage taken from area of effect attacks. The burning oil will continue to burn for 2 rounds in square L12. Fire. So Balinar's turn. Balinar's chest still smarts from the fire strike, but his voice never wavers. He sees Alahazar surrounded by burning spiders, wounded and struggling. He maintains his Inspire Courage performance, his voice flowing seamlessly into an encouraging battle cry. Hold fast, Alahazar, stand strong! He moves 5 feet. He moves 5 feet to here. To here. Adjacent to Alahazra, but just outside the swarm's burning square. He reaches out and touches Alahazra's shoulder, his hand glowing with healing magic as he casts Cure Light Wounds. And heals Alahazra. You're not falling today, Balinar shouts over the crackling flames. She's 8 of 8 HP now. Next is my turn. Now Albino Crocodile looms before me. Its pale scale slick with blood from my earlier strike. Its jaws snap menacingly, ready to tear into you if given the chance. Behind it you can see Tuskar and the sleeping troglodyte. To my west, Alahazra Balinar. I'm looking closely at the crocodile, how wounded it is. Blood seeps from where your warhammer struck its skull, staining the pale scales dark. The beast is clearly hurt. It moves with less confidence than before, favoring one side slightly. Its breathing is labored, visible in the rise and fall of its scaled flanks. It's wounded, perhaps half its strength spent, but far from finished. The creature's eyes still burn with feral hunger, and its jaws snap with deadly intent. A crocodile is dangerous, even when dying. One good bite could still drag you down. Moderately wounded, but still a serious threat. Enough. Time to break something. I activate my power attack. I grab my warhammer tighter, muscles coiling as you put full strength behind the blow. Finesse be damned, time to end the beast. Swing with brutal force at the wounded crocodile. The Inspire Courage actually negates the negative from the power attack to hit, and we hit. And then we do some nice damage. +2 from strength, +1 from Inspire Courage, +2 from power attack is 12 damage. Your warhammer crashes down with devastating force, striking the crocodile's spine with a sickening crack. The beast's body spasms once, then goes still. The albino crocodile collapses at your feet, dead. Snapjaw! Tuskar's roar of fury echoes across the chamber. You will pay for that, surface scum. Snapjaw is slain. The crocodile's body lies at D13. Israfiel's turn ends. Power attack remains active for future attacks, if we want that. So, he is dead. Took. That's a good feeling. Next is Feya. Feya watches Israfiel's crush the crocodile's spine with satisfaction. Good, now for the master. Her eyes fix on Tuskar standing in the eastern wing, flames still dancing around his clawed hand. The wounded troglodyte sleeps at Q14, already dealt with. The real threat is the druid. He advances 15 feet to Q15. I don't think this is really a great idea. But, well, she's there. And she hurls and she hurls. She pulls a dart from her belt and hurls it at the troglodyte druid. But it misses. You'll have to do better than that, witch, his nose. And she's standing right next to that sleeping crocodile, which is not great, I think. But okay. Oh, the wounded crocodile snap open as Feya's magical sleep releases its grip. It finds itself lying on cold stone, disoriented, the sound of battle crashing back into its consciousness. It goes to Kudan. Okay. So it stands up and goes up to here. Okay. So next is the spider swarm. The start of its turn, the burning oil continues to consuming the swarm. 7 fire damage, and that means the swarm is destroyed. The swarm is destroyed. The flames are still on the ground. So far, so good. Yeah, we have dealt with the spider swarm, which was my greatest fear, actually. We have the wounded, and we have also dealt with the crocodile. We have the wounded troglodyte up here, and the Duskar here. And we probably shouldn't go closer with more people, because the floor looks a little bit weaker here, at least different, so that's that. Yeah, let's continue. So next is Marissa's turn. She sees the wounded troglodyte. It's hurt, awake, and still a threat. She drops the oil flask to her belt and reaches for another javelin. She draws the javelin from her back. She hurls the javelin at the wounded troglodyte, and it hit confidently, and it also does a little bit of damage, quite a lot actually. Javelin streaks across the chamber and punches through the wounded troglodyte's chest. The creature staggers backward, gurgling, then collapses. It doesn't move again. That's for running away earlier, Marisiel mutters. So that means you are dead. Okay, that's not too bad, honestly. We have only Duskar left. So, Duskar, by the way, that's his turn now. Duskar's yellow eyes blaze with fury as he watches his last guard fall. His animal companion lies dead, his swarm destroyed, his follower slain, but the troglodyte druid is far from broken. Fanatism burns in his gaze. You think you've won? He roars. My god wants me power. He fixes his gaze on Feya, the witch who dared put his warrior to sleep. Flames dance around his clawed hand from his earlier spell. He hurls another bolt of fire at Feya. Range-touched axe, and it misses. The flames streak past Feya's shoulder, striking the stone wall behind her, anticipating in a shower of sparks. Feya doesn't even flinch. Pathetic. Duskar moves a little bit, not too much, just a little bit north. Yeah. Alahazra's turn. Alahazra feels the heat from the burning oil licking at her boots. She needs to move out of this fire before it causes more damage. Yeah, that's just here. That is just here. That's good. That is good. Next. With Tuskar about 35 feet away, she knows her torch won't reach him effectively, but she can provide support. She shifts her grip on the torch and pulls out her sling, loading a stone. She rolls the sling and releases, sending the stone flying at Tuskar. Misses. Though I think she wouldn't have been able to fire. But yeah, it missed anyway, so that's okay. Balinar is next. Okay, Balinar. Balinar assesses the situation quickly. Tuskar stands alone now, but still dangerous with his fire magic. Time to disrupt the druid spellcasting. He maintains his inspire courage. He moves a little bit. That would be here. That would be here. He focuses on Tuskar and begins casting, his fingers weaving through complex gestures as the arcane words spill from his lips. He casts Lesser Confusion. Let's see how well you cast when your mind betrays you. Tuskar's eyes widen as the spell takes hold, magical discord assaulting his thoughts, and he failed the save. Nice. The druid's movement becomes erratic, his hand twitches, the flames around it flickering uncertainly. His eyes dart around wildly, confusion clouding his fanatical focus. He is now confused. Okay, it's my turn now. The battlefield has shifted dramatically. Snapshot's corpse lies at your feet. The wounded troglodyte has fallen to Mariciel's javelin, and now Tuskar stands alone, about 30 feet away. The troglodyte's druid's eyes dart around wildly, his movements jerky and uncertain. Balinar's confusion spell has clearly taken hold. Behind me is some oil. Then I was considering charging him, but that is not possible because of the rubber here. I cannot charge him. But then I was considering just moving, and apparently I can just move here, 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 and here. That's apparently in my movement range of 20 feet. And I'm adjacent to Tuskar now. After moving over that floor, that looks a little bit different. What could I feel about how stable it is? As you move across the floor of the eastern wing, you experience dwarven senses detect something immediately. The stone beneath your boots feels wrong. The floor has subtle cracks running through it. There's a slight give underfoot that shouldn't be there. Mortar between stones is crumbled in places. The collapse of the lower levels has clearly weakened this section. My engineering knowledge training tells me this floor is structurally compromised. Not immediately dangerous with just you and Tuskar standing here, but if too many creatures crowd into this eastern wing area, the floor could give way entirely. You estimate if more than 4 to 5 people stand in this weakened section at once, it might collapse. You are in a dangerous position. If the floor collapses, it's flung forward to the ground. My dwarven voice booms across the chamber, cutting through the wind whistling through the archways. Hold your positions! The eastern floor is weak. Too many of us out here and it collapses. Your companions react immediately. Alhazra nods sharply, planting her feet. Understood. We'll support from here. Mariciel takes an instinctive step backward. Gods, how weak are we talking? Freya, her eyes narrow. I'm already on it. Not moving closer. She's in the eastern wing, but towards the edge. Balinar calls back. 4 creatures maximum, is it? That's you, Tuskar, Freya, and 1 more before it goes. Your warning has been heard. Your others won't rush forward carelessly now. And now I'm going to attack him with my warhammer. with power attack still, and it hits for 10 damage. Your warhammer crashes into Tuskar's shoulder with bone-crushing force. The druid's scales crack under the impact, and he staggers backward with a roar of pain. Blood seeps from its wound, staining his ritual scars dark. Surface felt, he snarls through pain and confusion, his eyes still unfocused from the magical discord clouding his mind. The druid is badly wounded now. Your strike was devastating. He is bleeding, disoriented, and clearly struggling. Freya hears your warning about the floor and glances down briefly, assessing. She's near the edge of the weakened section, but not in the most dangerous zone. Still, she notes the danger. She pulls another dart and throws it at the wounded druid. And hits. It hit with quite some good damage. The dart streaks across the gap and buries itself in Tuskar's chest, just below his collarbone. The druid gasps, staggering backward another step. Blood flows freely now from multiple wounds. Your god isn't coming to save you, Freya says flatly. Tuskar is grievously wounded now, barely standing. He is wounded. Blood flows from where my warhammer struck his shoulder and where Freya's dart hit his chest. He is clearly hurt and the confusion spell is affecting him. But he is far from finished. The troglodyte druid still stands firmly, his yellow eyes blazing with fanatic fury despite the magical discord clouding his thoughts. He's a dangerous opponent who has taken damage, but calling him barely standing was an overstatement of his condition. So, the burning oil is no longer burning. So... Okay. Well, I seem to not be able to delete it. Well, it's okay. We know it's no longer burning. So, Maritial. She advances a little bit. To here. That's where she advances to. And hurls a javelin at the wounded Tuskar. But misses. Yeah, just caught Claude again with an error. The redrawing of the javelin would require a move action. And she doesn't have BAB +1. So she advances and draws another javelin. Next round, she mutters. The magical discord fades from Tuskar's eyes. His gaze sharpens, focusing on you standing right beside him. Blood drips from his wounds, but fanaticism burns brighter than pain. You want close combat, dwarf? It's not. Let me show you the wrath of nature. He begins chanting in the guttural druidic tongue, his clawed hand erupting into flame. But this isn't the bolt of fire he threw before. This forms into a scimitar-shaped blade of pure flame that blazes in his grip. Now we fight as warriors, he roars. I did get another opportunity while he was casting, but I missed, unfortunately. Alahazra sees Tuskar's flame blade ignite and knows Israfiel is now in serious danger, fighting the druid in melee. Her loyal nature drives her decision. She needs to weaken their enemy. She raises her hand towards Tuskar, her voice dropping into grim prayer. Dark divine energy flows from her fingertips toward the druid. May your god abandon you as you have abundant reason. She casts doom. But Tuskar's eyes widen as the curse attempts to take hold, but he's saved. Druid's fanatic shrill shrugs off the divine curse, his belief in his twisted vision protecting him from doubt. Your surface gods are weak, he snarls triumphantly. She has no more spells now. Palinar's turn next. Palinor maintains his inspired courage, assesses the situation quickly. Daskar is wounded but now wielding a flame blade against Israfiel. The eastern floor is unstable. He needs to contribute without getting into melee. He draws his short bow, knocking an arrow. He aims carefully at the wounded druid and releases, but misses. The arrow flies wildly off course as Palinor tries to avoid hitting Israfiel in melee's fight. Yeah. It strikes the stone wall harmlessly. So, my turn. I could try to move south to remove the cover bonus I give him. That might provoke against him. Let's just still use a power attack. And I think I'll keep using it and attack him with my Warhammer again. So yeah, I swing my Warhammer at the druid, putting all my strength behind the blow. Which is a really good hit. With power attack. And apparently a critical strike. No, not really critical strike. That's just a labeling because I rolled max damage. The Warhammer crashes into Daskar's ribs with devastating force. You hear bones crack under the impact. The druid's eyes go wide with shock and pain as the blow drives the air from his lungs. Blood sprays from his mouth. But he refuses to fall. He staggers from the impact, gasping in pain, clutching his shattered ribs, but remains on his feet through sheer willpower. I will not fall to surface path, he snarls. Through bloody deeds, his flame blade reigniting in his trembling hand. Daskar is now grievously wounded, barely holding himself upright. Blood pouring from multiple wounds, but still conscious and still dangerous. Now Freya, she pulls another dart and hurls it at the druid. Firing into melee, but it still hit him. For 3 damage. Bart strikes Daskar in the shoulder. The druid runs, staggering another step. More blood flows, but through sheer fanatical will, he remains still standing. Just die already, Freya mutters with frustration. Freya's turn ends. Now it's Mariciel's turn. She sees Daskar barely standing, drenched in his own blood. She has a clear shot. This should do it, she mutters, hurling her javelin. With firing into melee, but still a really high roll, a 19. And also really nice damage, maximum damage. The javelin punches clean through Daskar's chest. The druid's eyes widen in disbelief. His flame blade flickers and dies. He looks down at the javelin protruding from his torso, then back at you. My God will remember, he gasps. Then the troglodyte druid collapses to the stone floor. Dead. That should mean nobody alive. Daskar's body lies still on the stone floor, Mariciel's javelin protruding from his chest. The self-proclaimed conqueror who dreamed of leading the troglodyte race to dominate the surface world is dead. His flame blade has extinguished, leaving only wisps of smoke. The wind whistles through the open archways of the tower's peak. The sounds of battle fade, replaced by the distant rumble of Absalom in the afternoon light. You stand victorious atop the fallen fortress. Palinor lowers his bow, his voice filled with genuine relief and admiration. You did it. By all the gods, you actually did it. The entire fortress cleared in a single day. Daskar, his guards, his pets, all of them. The danger has passed. The tower is yours. And so we won that battle. We still need to be careful with the floor. I will examine Daskar and then retreat to the safe part. Then Mariciel can check the chest for traps and then for loot. So, Duskar has a scimitar, a leather armor, some darts, a hide armor, some coins, and a wooden holy symbol. Balinar comments that floor won't hold forever. Yeah, he's probably right. Mariciel approaches cautiously, eyeing the big chest next to the throne-like chair in the eastern wing. The chest is ornate, clearly meant for someone important. I'm going out there, she says nervously. Just, if the cloth was cracking, I'm jumping back. She carefully moves on the weakened section to reach the chest. She doesn't find any traps, and she could easily pick the lock. A leather pouch with heavy coins. 300 gold pieces. The scroll case, a jade statuette, silver amulet, gemstones, a vial. This is a fortune. Duskar's war chest for the conquest, I'd wager. The Pathfinder Society will want to document this. Historical artifacts from pre-Earthfall Fortress, plus whatever Duskar accumulated. So, let's get all the stuff we found. So, 300 gold pieces plus 45 gold pieces from Duskar. 2 scrolls, a jade statuette, a silver amulet, a gemstone, a potion vial, a wooden holy symbol. We leave those weapons on his body. Let's identify what we can. We have a cure moderate wound scroll, a barkskin scroll, potion of cure light wounds. An amulet of natural armor, a jade statuette, some gemstones, and the holy symbol. Not a bad haul, not a bad haul. Finished? Well, Duskar is dead. His followers are eliminated. The immediate threat is over, yes. Though there's still Duskar's equipment on the corpse. I don't care about that. We're in rough shape, says Hatra. Yeah. Mariciel mentions that the floor is not going to hold if we all crawl out there. For what's worse, you have already accomplished something remarkable. You have cleared an ancient fortress, rescued a Pathfinder, and eliminated a legitimate threat to the region. The Society will compensate you well for this, especially with my testimony. Okay.
We defeated the leader. I think we are done here. Let's go back to the town. Have a good beer and some nice meal for once. I can't remember when the last time has been when I could afford a good tavern. Maybe we can find the Pathfinder Society. We found some interesting items and knowledge here.
A good beer and a hot meal. Gods, yes. I'm so tired of rations and spider-infested ruins.
Now that sounds like the best plan I've heard all week. And, Israfiel, I know exactly where to take you. The Pathfinder Society's Grand Lodge in Absalom. They'll want to hear everything about this fortress, and they pay well for information, artifacts, and historical documentation. Between the gold we found and the Society's rewards, you'll all be eating well for quite some time.
Let's get down from this death trap of a tower before that floor decides to give way on its own.
Finally, some civilization.
Israfiel, all of you. You saved my life. I won't forget that. When we reach the lodge, I'll make sure Venture Captain Brackett knows exactly what you accomplished here.
The party carefully makes their way down the spiral staircase, past the empty prison cell where you found Balinar, past Tulak's corpse still reeking in his chamber, down through the cleared floors of the fortress. The afternoon sun is beginning to slant toward evening as you emerge from the tower's entrance. The Cairnlands stretch before you, Absalom gleaming in the distance. The journey back through the Cairnlands is peaceful. The sun sets as you approach Absalom's walls, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and reds. For the first time in days, you're not looking over your shoulder for troglodytes or giant spiders. Balinar leads you through the city streets to the Pathfinder Society's Grand Lodge, an impressive building near the Wise Quarter. Inside, he introduces you to Venture Captain Shavala Brackett, a stern woman with silver hair who listens intently to your report.
A pre-Earthfall fortress cleared, a rogue druid eliminated, and one of our agents rescued. The Society values initiative and capability. You've demonstrated both. I can give you 500 gold pieces for clearing the fortress and requeuing our agent, and another 150 gold pieces for the artifacts. I can also offer free lodging at a Society-affiliated inn for 1 week.
You find yourselves at a proper tavern, with proper beds, proper food, and proper ale. The party sits around a large table, full plates and frothing mugs before you. Israfiel, for the first time in longer than you can remember, you can afford the good stuff. The beer is cold, the roast beef is perfectly cooked, and your purse is heavy with gold. The party drinks, laughs, and for one night at least, puts aside thoughts of ruins and monsters. Tomorrow will bring new opportunities, but tonight you've earned your rest.
Means we have completed the Master of the Fallen Fortress adventure. My first adventure doing a Pathfinder campaign with the LLM or AI GM, and it was a lot of fun. I can tell you that. Narrative, it was great. The ruling was not so great, but all in all, we could overcome those problems mostly. Not if I don't know all the rules myself, so that's that. But yeah, I am going to do another campaign in the future. Shouldn't be too long. This will be Crypt of the Everflame, because that's another one that is set as an introductory campaign for new players. I think we'll try that. I also will continue how we did the maps today, which means I draw the battle maps myself on Dungeon Draft and then played out in Fantasy Grounds, like I did today. Never done this before, so it was not optimal, but it was fun, I think. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thanks for watching this whole series, hopefully, and wish every one of you a great rest of your morning, night, evening, whatever time zone. Take care about yourself, stay healthy, and hope to see you again in the Crypt of the Everflame.